Do you ever talk to, like, about food with your kids?
Not really.
When did you and your husband meet?
It was like 2007. We've known each other for a long time. We were friends for a long time throughout college. Actually, it was before 2007. And so it's really weird. Like, we have like a long history of friendship where I would like go on a date and come home and I'd be like, this guy was such a loser. Like, let me tell you all
Oh
about
my
this,
God.
whatever. And I still remember.
He did like the best friend to relationship
total best
thing.
friend to relationship
Good for
thing.
him. That's a
There's
tough move to make.
Literally a band. I remember he asked me to help him pick out the Valentine's Day gift for the girl he was dating at the time.
That's great.
He was like, I think I'm gonna get her tickets to this concert. And I was like, oh, that's my favorite band. And that's like when I started realizing like, oh, this is not just like my thing. I was like, oh, I like that band. I can't believe he's gonna take her to that for Valentine's Day. And I was like, oh yeah, I think she'll really like it. You probably won't, but like she'll enjoy it. He goes, oh, I'm not going with her. I'm just gonna get her the tickets. And I'm like, oh, good. And that's when I realized I'm like, oh, I don't even want him to like go on a date with his girlfriend.
Aww.
So that's kind of like what made me realize. And so yeah, we were friends for a long time. We went to different schools. He came to visit for a weekend. We dated for like a year, broke up because we both graduated college in like the 2008 recession era. So we kind of both trickled home to our parents.
I know
and
that thing.
spent some time apart, got big girl and boy jobs.
Has he always been a skinny Benny the whole time?
Always. He is like my exact opposite.
Yeah.
He is 6'4" and like 180, 185.
My wife, when we met, was like, again, I mean, she was like 5. She's like 5'6", I think. I don't know. I can't tell heights at all. She's like 5'6", 5'7". She weighed like 115 pounds when we met, and I was just like, I'd never. It's not that I had dated around a lot, but I had never dated someone so much physically smaller than me before. It's interesting dating someone who has never been big.
Yes.
That's the big thing for me. It wasn't because everyone's gone through trying to lose weight, doing all that. But like my wife had never been big her whole life. She was always super tiny. So it was funny in our relationship, things that were like little bit of like sensitivities and learning curves that she didn't realize. If she she's learned the hard way. She cannot talk about a single thing I eat or how much exercise I'm doing ever. Because it is.
Because it's a sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. My husband's the same way, and he like naturally, a lot of it just comes so naturally to him, like gravitates to like eating like only super healthy foods, and he's just always been super active, and he was like a cross-country runner and a swimmer.
If you
and
ask
a
my
lifeguard.
wife what her favorite food is, she'll say salad. And I'm like, that is the most frustrating answer. So that's the thing I always get mad at her about, because her favorite foods are like salad, asparagus, broccoli. Meanwhile, my favorite food is like pizza, wings, and burgers, and I look like a jerk just going.
Yeah, my husband has always been really thin, naturally, super active. But he's always dated plus size girls for the most part. So he already kind of had an idea of like how to navigate the relationship. But I think obviously as you get more and more serious, like things go down a path where he's like an incredibly wonderful advocate. Like if we're going somewhere, he's scoping out the seating situation too. So he really shares the load, which is really nice.
My wife is so protective of me nowadays. I think it's because when the beginning of our relationships we had hard conversations where I had to be like, hey, you're not meaning to, but this hurts my feelings and you're bringing up a lot of stuff that you have nothing to do with. But just know it's like it's stuff that I dealt with my whole life and you're just kind of reinforcing that. And then like now we're in that position where, we have a daughter now. And she's amazing. And I am so terrified that my daughter will have like the same hang-ups as I did growing up. So that's like been our biggest thing, is trying to avoid like do you ever talk to like about food with your kids?
Not really. I try to keep it extremely neutral. I follow different accounts on social media and things like that talk about like baby-led weaning and things like that, of like what to introduce safely and things like that. And I've learned a lot through those things of like not moralizing different foods and things like that for myself. So one thing I learned that I thought was really interesting was like put a cookie on their plate with their dinner, and you don't say like, oh, you got to finish your broccoli before you eat your cookie. And I hear people in my family who are well-meaning and they'll be like, oh, eat your broccoli first or whatever, like don't eat your cookie yet. But I never say anything about anything. It's just like, here are your options, eat it all. And my kids, like, because we don't even talk about it, like, they mostly do lean toward the...
Isn't that wild?
It's
like,
so crazy.
Because
Whereas
we did the
for
same...
me, it's like, I'm going for the cookie because that was, like, the forbidden thing.
For me, the last bite was always very important.
Yeah.
Like, so even, like, when I'm eating, I would save, like, the most delicious thing for last because you had to earn it and it had to be... And you had to make it last. And,
Right.
And my daughter... It is so, because we made a conscious effort. We're like, all right, we are never commenting on which food she's putting in her mouth. Just because that was something that was commented my whole life. They're like, oh, you're going to eat that? Oh, you're doing that? Oh, do you know? Like, for me, like, we were a Weight Watchers family.
Same.
So it was like, do you know how many points
like
that
7.
is? Same. I'm like, not even in puberty. I'm on counting points. And like...
With your little book at McDonald's, like, oh, should I
God.
get the frost? Or
It
not
was the
Frosty,
worst. I like still have a problem with popcorn because that was always our... Popcorn and Jell-O were the two like low points thing, like snack items. Oh, I hated it. It's funny. We don't comment, like that's our rules. We do not make a comment on what food she's eating. And in doing so, she's 3.5 years old. She eats Brussels sprouts and asparagus. She eats salmon sushi. She eats like the crazy. She for one, because we're not making things good or bad or icky or delicious or just don't comment. Because that's the thing. We don't even say what tastes good and what doesn't. She like naturally is eating healthier than I ever did growing up. And it's because I was told my whole life, like, you can't have these foods because you're heavy, because they're bad for you. And these are bad foods and you can't have them. And, you know, we're all little rebels. So that's the only food I wanted.
Exactly. Of course. Yeah. Same. I mean, it's been such a conscious thing for us. And other things like people commenting on how much or how little my kids eat drives me crazy. Like, oh, she's a good eater, or oh, she's not eating very much. I'm like, everybody's fine. We're all good. We don't talk about it. We don't comment it. And even just people talking about their own food situation in front of my kids, I try to put a stop to.
I mean, our generation, we heard it our whole lives.
Yes.
And so did our parents. Everyone heard it their whole lives. So because of that, it's so natural to talk about food in terms of good and bad and healthy and unhealthy and what have you. My daughter seems so much freer that like, and I'll do it. I'll have to like stop my mom or stop like an aunt or an uncle, be like, hey, you don't, like, especially like there are times my daughter will not eat dinner just because she doesn't want to or whatever. And then there are times she eats a ton and it's like, and like, and my mom or like my, like people have said like, oh, she's not eating her dinner. She did this. And I'm like, it's cool. She's not hungry. We do not put any pressure on food. If she'll eat if she's hungry.
Well, that's
I promise.
the thing. And like my family will be like, oh, she's not going to eat dinner. What are you going to do later? I'm like, well, when she's hungry, she will ask for something to eat and we will feed her.
Why do they think that was such a big deal? They're like, well, she's not eating dinner. She's just going to ask for a snack in an hour. Cool.
Yeah, we'll give her one.
I don't care. Yeah, I'm still going to feed her if she's hungry. I'm not going to be like, you didn't eat at the right time
when
in
I
the
told
right
you.
way. It's just...
It's such a weird thing to navigate as a parent. And I have a lot of sympathy, especially for my mom, because I think about what she must have gone through in her childhood to feel the way she felt about herself, have the concerns she had about me at such a young age. Like we've talked about Weight Watchers at a really young age and every diet and every doctor and all of these things. Like,
I used to like not be hurt that I was put on like Weight Watchers and stuff at a young age. I realize now that my mom was doing what she thought was she was trying to save me from the pain she felt.
Right.
And at the time they're like, that's the resource. I need to teach my kid how to eat correctly now. And this is what Jenny Craig says to do. So we're going to do this. And it's like, it was entirely well-intentioned. Right. But it's, you know, we have a little more insight now where we can see that, like, no. The putting the pressure and the restrictions is such a mind. It just messes with you so much and it sticks with you. I still, to this day, working in this industry, being an advocate for, like, body positivity and body neutrality and healthy relationships with food, I still, in my own time, I find myself going back to it. Like, there are times, if I'm very upset, like if I'm going through like a depressed stage, I'll start dieting. I'll start doing certain things. I'll start restricting certain foods because it's kind of like it's been ingrained in me that that's how you fix yourself.
Exactly. It's so interesting. Years ago, I did this program that was with a bunch of other plus size women. It was all about learning nutrition for like nutrition's sake, not necessarily for weight loss. And the nutritionist who worked with us at one point was like, you know, sometimes you can eat well from a place of love for yourself, not from a place of punishment. And that was like, my brain exploded because
That was my
in
relationship
mind,
with working
a
out.
salad
Yeah.
was a punishment. Whereas maybe today it's like, hey, I think it'd make me feel good to have a salad.
That
like,
was me
it's so crazy.
working out. Going to the gym was because I had done something wrong and I needed to fix it. And when I found out that I could work out not to lose weight, but to like feel stronger,
Yeah.
and for my mental health
my
was the
gosh.
big thing. I work out more than I ever have just because I'm
Same.
like, I'm stressed. I need to get my stress
Right.
out. Where
Same
that's
with me.
For me, it was always a negative thing. It was always like, no, that's a punishment.
you're going to the
Right.
gym. You know, I would go to the.
And now it's fun.
I had a gym membership at 12 years old because I was a little fat kid.
Exactly.
And like, now it's like.
Same. And now, like, as a parent, we have this, like, family-friendly, like, fancy gym, which I know they have everywhere, but, like, they have the great childcare. And we, like, do play dates with some of their friends. Like, their mom will go, and we drop the kids at the gym play area together, and we go work out together. It's, like, my social time. It's my fun time. And it's such a positive part of my life that I'm like, wow, what if I had had such a positive thought process around this from a young age?
That's what I want to do. Is I want my daughter to know that, you know, taking care of your health, taking care of your mental health, working out and whatnot, is a, like, growing up, it was a punishment having to do those things. So setting a world where it's like, no, this is just a benefit to your life if you want it.
Right.
And if you're bigger or smaller, we're still gonna love you and you're still valid. And you can do
Exactly.
whatever you want. I don't want my daughter. I think we both are like trying to create a world where our kids' value isn't on the size or
Exactly.
shape of their body.
For sure.